You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, half of humanity will still be alive. I hope they remember you.
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
One Piece Chapter 1013 is out, and it's titled after Big Mom, so you already know it's going to be full of unpredictable stuff. Now before we dive in, please feel free to like and sub to the channel. Lets me know if you guys like the content, and please check out the description below. There should be a new poll for you guys for this chapter. Now, as I mentioned in my last review, I really wanted to see more Ulti. She's my favorite Tobiropo, and I wanted her to have at least some solid fights, even if it was against like Nami, where I was pretty sure she'd win. I was like, I just need to see more Ulti. Oda did not like the idea, and he put her through the ringer this chapter. Now, it was set up to be something for Nami versus Ulti, obviously, and we even get some fighting through Nami of her not standing down, her pretty much going into this ready to fight Ulti and put her down. Was she going to? Ultimately, I don't think so. I had a feeling that she was going to get Zeus and possibly, carry out a strong feat, one that she hadn't done before. But ultimately, my money was still going to be on Ulti, either surviving the strongest attack or coming back shortly after. Instead of any of that happening, in the midst of their fight, Big Mom steps in and just takes out Ulti. She hits her with a combined attack Mazer Cannon, and it literally just tears a hole through Ulti's stomach. And that certainly wasn't what I was expecting. I thought that we would get at least a chapter of Ulti fight. And I thought that we would see more from Nami. I thought that we would see her stand her ground and do something against Tobiropo, which I think we've been missing since the last time they showed the altercation between like Ulti, Nami, Page One, and Usopp. I think it would have been really good for a character to see her not only like stand for a fight that kind of deals with her morals, deals with what she feels as a person, but it just gives Nami that bump of, okay, when the chips are down, she's gonna put in her all and she's gonna put in some work. And I think this was the perfect moment for that. So Big Mom kind of taking the thunder, it does steal a bit from Nami. I do like the fact that Big Mom wasn't just kind of sitting on the sidelines, just randomly waiting for something to happen. She immediately took action. But I wish that we could have gotten more for Nami. It's very reminiscent of Ulti's fight with Luffy, because before Ulti put her move on Luffy, she got knocked out with the Thunder Bagua. So Ulti just doesn't have good luck when it comes to, trying to finish up her fights. It's unfortunate, but there are some people who are just not letting her get her move out. The ultimate question here is Ulti out for good? Now, I don't see her changing back. We don't really get any panels of her, going out of zone form, but she looks pretty tapped out, if I'm going to be honest. I think there's still some potential for possibly a resurgence of Ulti and maybe a ending Nami Zeus versus Ulti fight, like one last shot. Because when it comes to Zeus, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, I think there is potential for him to still be alive. We also have to point at the zone resilience and the fact that they heal really fast. So yes, this is a hole in her stomach, but she's a zone user. It's very possible that maybe she's awakened, maybe she has some kind of ability. Being a Zoan, that gives her some regenerative abilities that we don't necessarily see at this moment in time, but we will see in the upcoming chapters. Now let's talk about Big Mom for a little bit, because she is a majority of this chapter, and a lot of what she's doing in this chapter, it's setting the groundwork for some other things that'll happen in the near future. Now, after Big Mom takes out Ulti, we have Zeus over to the side, kind of observing that he's been left out of the group, seeing that there's a new thundercloud, they're doing combo moves, and they're kind of making a lot of comments that push Zeus away. And Big Mom notices him and kind of calls to him and says, "Alright Zeus, now that you're back, we can go ahead and use you for nourishment. Basically, I'm gonna need that soul back." And it's funny because Zeus comes into this blatantly aware that he's been replaced. But he has kind of the commentary of like, hey, we have a new member now, so I guess, it's the four of us, we got this. He knows what's gonna happen. And Big Mom makes it painfully obvious that he's been replaced and that it's over for him. And with this, Zeus basically has no place to go, because he looked at Nami earlier and she basically ignored him too. So he's having his fit of, great, now I'm not wanted anywhere. And he starts crying, and obviously Big Mom doesn't care about that. She points out that Zeus carries her soul, so she's not just going to let him go. And I think that's interesting because we don't know how that's going to work. If Zeus actually does manage to survive and goes with Nami, it's weird that a part of Big Mom's soul got away from her, and there was nothing she could do about it. So it almost feels like, to me, Zeus shouldn't be able to get away no matter what. Even if, by some chance of luck, he ate the thunderclouds and now he's amped up, or that he escapes Hera. If he has Big Mom's soul, he really shouldn't be able to just get away. There should be a better way for her to, take her soul back. But as Hera begins eating him to consume his soul, he decides, he's going to have one final hurrah and he's going to attack. What he was planning to do, I honestly have no idea. Even when he was amped up with the lightning clouds, he didn't stop Big Mom. She was still on her rampage, so I don't know what he was going to do here. But whatever it is, Big Mom stops it. And she does it with zero effort. It's easy. She literally just grabs him out of the sky and then starts squeezing the soul out. At this point, even Nami feels bad and she tries to help, but all that ends up happening is that Zeus gets eaten and so the thunderclouds by Hera. Now, they're leaving as Hera eats the clouds, so basically they set up this strong thundercloud for Kid to fight, because they're gone. They're not going to be part of this. I think ultimately it's going to be Kid handling this fight with Law coming in later. So basically they gave her a power-up and then left, which is pretty unfortunate for Kid because I think he's already at a huge disadvantage fighting Big Mom 1v1, but now she's amped up again. We can also talk about Tama a little bit because we are shown that she's not in the best shape, and it's a reoccurring thing. We keep getting these visions, we keep getting these panels of Tama being in not so good shape. I think this is the third one now where we've seen that she's kind of out of it. And again, it's pushing this idea that she might have a death flag or two on her. Now, I know this is definitely not the first person I would expect to see die here, especially being a young child, but I think the possibility does exist. And I think the fact that we keep seeing things like this just amps up that possibility. But initially, Big Mom takes her away from Usopp and Nami because she wants to save Tama. Tama is her friend. But when Tama slips back away and tries to escape with him, she immediately goes into, well, you know what? If you're gonna leave me, I'm gonna have to kill you too. And what's happening here gives me flashbacks to Mother Caramel because one, you have like Zeus being cannibalized, and then two, you have people deserting Big Mom. Now, instead of it driving her into a sad, distressful state, it's making her angry this time. But the idea is still the same. She's being deserted by the people she likes, and now she has to do something about it. She's not going into any crazy states, but it's obviously affecting her, and she's obviously going to do something about it once she takes down Kid. Speaking of Kid, he comes into the chapter with a Punk Gibson, which I think is his main move because that's what he uses most of the time. When we see Kid, he's using a Punk Gibson. But I have to hand it to him. When he comes in, he actually manages to catch Big Mom's blade. So he catches Napoleon. And then not only does he stop the attack, he grabs Big Mom's face and slams her into the ground. So while I won't give him the credit for overpowering Big Mom, the fact that he can at least stop her attack and then push her down, that's a huge feat in itself. And we have that on top of the feat of him taking a hit to the face from Big Mom. So Kid, he's been hearing all his slander pretty much, and he's starting to step his game up. He's starting to put in some work. Is he beating Big Mom? No, it's not happening. I mean, Big Mom is Big Mom. She consistently shows us that she is a Yonko for a reason, and this will not be any different. Now, maybe he'll get some good showing here, but one, there's a reason Law is coming here to help, and two, I don't think, even though she has bruises, even though it looks like she may have been like scarred up, this is Big Mom. She never takes damage, and she looks virtually unaffected when she gets up and just shakes her head. So what can Kid do to Big Mom? Honestly, I don't know. It kind of runs the same way of what can Kid do to Kaido. You know, it doesn't seem like he has any Rio. It doesn't seem like he knows how to conquer his haki. He's basically just attacking with metal. And at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to penetrate her iron balloon armor body. But I like the fact that Kid is getting a 1v1 of sorts. Like, I really thought that essentially Kid and Law were going to start fighting at the same time. But it looks like Kid's going to take a chapter, or, maybe 2 chapters. We'll see how long that goes. But he's going to have some time to himself where he's just fighting Big Mom. That's going to be really good for his character as the person who rivals Luffy, or is supposed to rival Luffy. he needs the minimum of this, because Luffy's been fighting Kaido this whole time. You know, Luffy's been putting in the work, and we know Luffy. We've watched him do all these things, so we haven't seen a lot from Kid. This is definitely going to help, and I think that the end of this chapter is a good indicator that Kid isn't beating Big Mom, because again, Kaido has dusted Luffy. Like I said, 1v1, Luffy was not beating Kaido. It wasn't happening. Even if he learned Kankurosaki coding, even if he got a leg up, even if he's using Ryo and Kankurosaki, he's not beating Kaido 1v1. It wouldn't have made sense for him to have gained that many levels in just this fight, to go from basically needing a 5v1 to being able to overpower him in a 1v1. And Kaido appears to be going through the same thing of, he's disappointed. He tried to get the most out of Luffy, but it still wasn't enough. Which, you know, if you look at that, that means that he still had a lot more in his tank. He was still ready to go a lot longer, but Luffy couldn't hold up. And I think him throwing Luffy off the side, or maybe he knocked Luffy off the side, however Luffy ended up cascading to the ground, serves two purposes. One, as Luffy's falling, because I think in the next chapter we're going to see some people notice, whoever sees that sight is going to lose morale. Now, I know he's already pretty much below the island here, but I think that we might get some visuals of him falling. Someone's going to notice, and I think they're going to start losing morale because they're seeing basically the leader of the pirate samurai alliance falling to the ground, defeated. But I think this also serves as a purpose to get Yamato involved. We know that she mentioned she wanted to be like Momo, in which she could use the dragon ability, and that she has a hidden ability that we haven't seen yet. So what I'm expecting is, since Yamato is heading to where Luffy is now, maybe she sees him, and maybe she activates her ability. You know, whether it be a dragon or some other mythical animal, I feel like essentially she's going to be the person to go save Luffy and bring him back up to the top so they can 2v1 Kaido. I think that's essentially how that's going to happen. I don't really see what else happens with Luffy falling. The only other thing I thought of is that maybe, since it seemed like we were getting close to Wano, that Luffy falls in the city, and that now that he's fallen here and he's knocked out, the people see and they lose any kind of hope they had for, you know, Kaido and Orochi leaving. Basically, Kaido uses that as a deterrent for any kind of rebellion, saying that no, Wano is his territory and Luffy does not matter. However, I think that one might be a stretch. We still don't know where Onigashima's at as far as where Wano's at, and I don't even necessarily know that a lot of people see Luffy as their savior, since he really hasn't been doing something in the main city. It's mostly been like with the prisoners, and about everyone who is influenced by Luffy is at the raid right now. So I don't know if that would be super effective. All in all, a really solid chapter, really funny. You guys gotta check out some of the memes that are going on for this chapter. I absolutely love them. Please comment down below with your thoughts, and everyone have a good one. I'll catch you next time. Bye.
You know they say that kings aren't born with me, and maybe I'd agree if I weren't born this way. I know that sometimes I don't have a lot to say, but this is